think okay, no, now you can hear me. Now we're on. All right, here we go. It's My Manic Mondays on Wednesday. That's right. It's a Jim Crut episode. Come on, helicopter zombies here. Let's get on it. Yo, 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 yo. In three, two, one, boom. Hello, how we doing tonight or this evening? It's kind of early still. How we doing? How we doing? 7:37 on the clock. We're getting going. Welcome to My Manic Mondays or on Wednesday. This is My Manic Mondays, where moods and mental health meet. I'm your host, CJ Robles. Welcome, welcome. We have a guest tonight, so I don't want to keep him waiting too long. But we'll let everybody come into class. Come on in, come on in. Let me adjust something real quick because this is bothering me. There we go. That's better. There, tranquilo aquí, mira. There we go. And then put this out of the way. And then there we go. Do this. See, now we're prepped. So I'm going to have my guest on. But before we move on, we are going to discuss the quote of the night. But apparently, it did not upload. So hold on. You know, Murphy's Law. All that can go wrong will go wrong. So be prepared for the worst, but expect the best, right? Hope for the best. Be prepared for the worst. All right, here we go. Tonight's quote is... Lose your dream, lose your mind. The Rolling Stones. Now, the reason I brought this quote up, I usually bring the quote up at the end, bring up the quote early because I don't want to keep Jim waiting. But I want to say that working in my garden and learning about the difference between like rocks and stones and how they help out the garden and how they, things about bedrock, and start learning all this stuff about, I mean, that's in the ocean, but I mean, like talking about putting like rocks or stones at the bottom of your garden or like for concrete, stuff like that. You start having different feelings for them, I guess, or understanding. The Rolling Stones, very, very popular band. I think it was 50 years they've been going on. And when I was a kid, I heard a quote that said, "A Rolling Stones gathers no moss." And I never really understood that quote, but I always liked it. And I got older, I realized you just got to keep moving, keep doing things. So as a Rolling Stone, I think like I've been doing a lot of stuff. I'm completing them, but they're not getting the way I want them, or I'm messing up here and there. So I'm learning to slow down. But I'll like the rock stars that they are, I would like to inspire and be something that I can be myself, inspire my kid. But to lose your dream, you lose your mind. I've been acting a lot lately. I've been on stage a lot. I've been doing movies, and I've been filming and writing, just doing everything I can in my world, right? And as I'm meeting other people and other creatives, I keep getting that I am they keep getting to know me because people are asking questions about me. Like, hey, where you come from? What do you do? Like, who are you? Like, I don't know, stuff like that. But like getting to know you, not just like that. And one thing I get, oh, CJ's a dreamer. Oh, you're a dreamer. Oh, you dream. And that one, I'm like, oh, okay, is that a bad thing? I don't know. But also, that's the one, the idea man. That's the other one. When I was in the corporate company, with the corporate company I work for, they always like, oh, he's just an idea guy. He just throws ideas out. But I do things too. I just don't really have time to want to post. It's exhausting. So I have people that have come through in my journey since 2020. I've been meeting people along this path, this journey, and we become friends on social media. I have friends on here. I've had Jim Crud on here before. And but you get, the time passes, and as time passes, as these stones start passing, you see the things that people do. They also post on things they like, and you have things in common. Jim and I, we like horror movies, like making them. But I found out the Jim is an absurd. I mean, it's absurd. He's a absolutely one of the best gardeners I've seen in my circle or online. And I gotta say, I think tonight is gonna be a fun, fulfilled episode of movies and gardening, mental health. We'll see where we go. It's a Wednesday night, so I don't want to keep Jim waiting much longer. So without further ado, let's get the helicopter zombie in from the out from the green room and into the booth. How you doing, Jim?
Well, thank you for that marvelous introduction, CJ.
I'm learning that also I've been called the showman. I have a lot of showmanship.
There you
I
go.
guess.
You know what? That's what people want to see. Everybody wants to
Yeah.
be entertained, and I think that's important too. You got to
Thank you.
kind of
Thank
play
you.
to that strength.
Yeah, even though when I was doing the live stream, one of the Instagrammers said, "You look completely different these days," and I was like, "Well, it's," and they thought I got offended, but like, no, I do this a lot. I just don't really post, and but now that I'm always acting and doing this stuff, I'm like, what's kind of I'm going through like this artist phase that I like doing, but most of the time I like just being like, I'm like I'm in a shirt and shorts and shoes because I like being in that garden. I like being in the dirt, and I don't know. I've already jumping into the conversation, but man, I wanted to share something with you. Look at this.
Cherry tomato. Did you grow those already?
Yeah, they're already coming out.
Oh man, I'm going out tomorrow to get tomato plants. Of course, we're in Pennsylvania. The weather's a little different. We had a freeze earlier in the week, so that's after a
So
75-degree day. It's crazy. It's crazy.
how's it? So how does that work? Because in Pennsylvania, so you have to guard your garden and then let it hit, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, pretty much. They say Mother's Day, May 1st, then it's probably safe, maybe, because I put in crops like, geez, mid early April, and they were looking beautiful until a frost came along, and then all the tomatoes go, peppers and all the things were just. It was sad. It was like I killed them. So I
oh,
dug them all up and got in a whole new batch, and they seem to thrive. But I keep thinking, the weather's beautiful. I should stick something in the ground. It's going to grow. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to eat. It's going to be lovely. And then what happens? Mother Nature. Mother Nature comes along and with a theme song from Psycho going, nee, 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 nee. Yeah.
lovely garden we're having. It's too bad I'm going to take it from you. So, so these I just pulled. I have one for you and one for myself, but since you can't have it,
Well,
I'm gonna
thank
try it.
you. Please, please. That's pretty productive. What are you growing this year?
Okay. So I don't know why. I'll tell you how I got the cherry tomatoes. Years ago, in like 2008, my brother and I were living in East Austin when I was getting gentrified. So they're adding new things to the area.
Hmm.
And one of the houses we moved into was got gentrified, and they had these silos in the back, half silos, like three of them, and they
Yeah.
had jalapenos, peppers, and tomatoes. And I didn't maintenance them. I didn't take care of them. They weren't mine. I didn't know anything about it. But I looked out there and I just saw that those tomatoes were just growing and they were like happily growing. I was like, those things like heat? I was like, wow, okay. So I was just like 2008, little snippet.
Hmm.
Pandemic happened. I honestly, my, I don't know, it's a long story, but when pandemic happened, we got shut down and I remember being like, oh no, I need to do something. They're going to force us. I already knew they're going to stick us at home. And I knew I got to do something or I'm going to go stir crazy. Gardening. I always wanted to garden. I'm just gonna do it. We're gonna get into
Yeah.
it. What had happened was when I bought my home 2 years before, it had lovely grass. So they had put brand new St. Augustine grass. It was awesome. Being a first time homeowner, didn't know how to take care of it. Didn't know the maintenance. Didn't know the thing. It got burnt up bad. And not to
Mhm.
mention my first cutting on the lawn, I forgot to adjust the height, and it was already all the way down, so I like balled it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it killed it. So what happened was I've been having a hard time growing that grass out. So that was 2 years when the pandemic came, I said, you know what? There's a 20 by 20 spot right here. I'm just gonna organically figure it out. I started putting radishes, and I saw because they were quick, like 35 days, 40 days for radishes.
Yes,
So I put
yes.
them in there, and I had a whole thing of radishes, a whole thing of corn. Jim, I started laughing when I pulled my first one out, and it was beautiful, and I was like, "Yes, this is awesome." I was a little smile, but the giggles came in when I got the second, third, fourth. and I was pulling them out, and they were eaten. And I was like, what? And they're bit in half. They're chewing whatever rodent was going from the bottom was eating them. So it left one.
Voles or moles. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I got it, and I was like, yes, I'm so happy. And then I started just laughing because I was like, oh, they're all eaten. These things got eaten
Oh,
by
yeah.
something. So I got introduced to the raised bed. So then
Bingo. Bingo.
I I started doing the raised bed, and that thing keeps ants away. That thing keeps rodents away. That thing is like amazing. So I don't know what a raised bed is. I went and bought wood, and I just did it. I mean, I literally set it and forget it. But what ended up happening was you do that with gardening. Gardening's time, but it's just maintenance. You're just doing this thing.
Once you set it
Now,
up, it's like
yeah,
building a
once
house. It takes a while to build, but then you can live in it, you know.
exactly. So when that happened, I was like, oh no, I need to do something else because this is like I have now once it's built, I just gotta take care of it. So then I started doing the streaming and podcast. Led me to Scott Schiaffo, Brian O'Halloran, and Marion Gligliotti. They meeting Scott introduced me to Dave Madison, Joe Ridgely. That brought me to End of the Night. Now then that brought us to the Indie Escape, and that brought me to you. So now
It's a
I'm
wonderful series of connections. Follow the breadcrumbs. It's all great. By the way, on the raised beds, the one thing I was advised was if you're building up a raised bed, you can also put in the bottom of it a screen like wire mesh, and what that will do is keep things from burrowing up underneath it.
yes.
It's too late if you already have it filled unless you want to redo it, but I've found that has helped too. But sometimes the critters just come up over the edge and then they say, hey, this is great. I set up a trail cam once because I thought, what was making that hole next to my tomatoes? And I sat there, well, the camera sat there for about 3 days, and finally I saw a chipmunk go looking at the camera. So I set up a little trap, and next day, by golly, put a little bit of tomato in there. Chipmunk was in there, and I took him out to see some of the national forest. Uh, to give him a little bit of a trip, like 3-4
Went
miles
for a
away.
drive.
Yeah, yeah. You want to see the countryside? Get out of here! Get out of here! But that's the only thing that's burrowed in, except once I had it all fenced in, and I saw some leaves moving, and there were these tiny baby bunnies. I
Oh
thought,
wow.
what the? Apparently, the mom got in, burrowed in, because they can make a pretty covert nest, and had babies in there. Holy smokes, I've got to get out here more often, see what's going on. I ushered them out, checked the perimeter, put up another fence. It's a constant thing that you do when you're gardening. You wonder what you're doing right. Well, you celebrate if something's going right. You pull that radish out and say, my God, I am connected to the ages. Ever since time immemorial, people pulled food right out of the ground, brushed it off, eat it. And other times you say, well, what's eating the rest of my radishes? And so you start to learn a little bit more. And one of the things that's helped me a lot was going to like the Penn State Cooperative Extension classes taught by master gardeners. And they would
You went
have,
to like a college? Like
no. The master gardeners are volunteers who are experts in gardening, and they're
oh okay.
sponsored by Penn State. And you can, attend the classes. We have an agricultural center here near Gettysburg, and they just had the classes there, demonstrations. And I learned so much, companion planting. What is good to plant next to a strawberry? Is an onion good? Is a rhubarb good? Are radishes good? Or are onions good to put anywhere? And you find out that if things aren't growing, you should probably do a soil test. And I wish I'd learned that earlier on, and I would have done more soil tests before I planted anything, finding out that the ground, we built it up as much as we could and did amendments, but there's a difference in the pH, the acidity of the soil and the alkalinity of the soil. Like strawberries, they like a nice acid soil. Blueberries, they love a nice acid soil. All of our soil was very alkaline. So I've had to go in and do different types of amendments over the years at different times to bring it into a more growable situation where it's better consistency. Uh, but you never stop learning. That's the fun thing about gardening.
Oh yeah.
And when you're
I,
gardening, you know what you've put into it. You can trust what you're eating too.
no, and I think that's where I'm gonna segue over eating because I think organic food is where I want to talk about. But I want to know, how did you get into gardening? Is it just something that, because I honestly I can go back and I remember staying at my grandma's house down on like Main Street, and then just watching her and my and watching me, just literally just watching her and my aunt, and they were just like, just I mean, she had like on the side of the house, it looked like a just greenery. It was just all peppers, plants, onions.
Mhm.
Just it was just little pots. It was just I have pretty decent memory, and I could go back and just remember walking through there and seeing everything and seeing just like not cherry tomatoes but smaller tomatoes, and I'm being like, wow, those are little tomatoes. I just remember walking through it, but I remember I was always scared because I touched the jalapenos and I touched my face, and so I was always scared to go in there.
Rub your eye after doing it. You'll never
Yeah.
forget it.
Oh
Yeah.
God. But I remember that. And I think that's where I kind of got into a big part was my dad always wanted a garden, but he didn't want a garden, so he made me do like watermelons and cucumbers. And so I was forced to do that through him.
Ah,
But I also did roses. So I also learned how to do roses. So that's where my experience. I never hated it or anything. I was just kind of like, okay, I could do it. But then once that pandemic hit, I was like, oh, I got to do something. What got you into gardening? Because the way you do it, it looks like you have produce.
I'm trying to think back, and I know my mother did a lot of gardening. Family always had a garden plot, and my mother would grow tomatoes, peppers, and things like that. And she said, "Oh, there's nothing better than pulling a tomato off and taking a big bite of it." I'm thinking, "Ew, who'd want to eat it? A raw tomato? You know, if it's on spaghetti sauce or something, it's different. But a raw tomato, I'll tell you, I've gotten into some good tomatoes, and they are pretty good when you eat them raw. Maybe a little bit of salt on there is good too. I know even when my wife and I were in Pittsburgh, we were living there, and we had a strip probably 18 inches along between the sidewalk and the fence, and I started planting tomatoes in there because, well, first of all, I was a struggling actor, and any kind of extra food was always good. Tomatoes were healthy, give you a lot of vitamin C and who knows what else, good stuff. But one morning I woke up and I looked at the tomatoes, and there were little metal flakes
Oh.
on the red tomatoes. Because in Pittsburgh at the time, the steel mills were still operating, and that meant there was a lot of pollution in the air, including literally metal flakes.
That's
You could
crazy.
drive down alongside the river, along the parkway in Pittsburgh at night, and your headlights would reflect, and you'd think it was snowing. You would see the reflection of that. And so when our first daughter was born, I decided I didn't want to live in Pittsburgh and raise a child in that environment. I hadn't thought about it much until I saw those flakes on the tomatoes. So we moved to central Pennsylvania after that, and worked there for a few years. Ended up in Harrisburg, then the Gettysburg area. But some of those places were apartments or locations where we could not really plant much. Maybe my wife could do a few flowers or something like that.
Okay.
But we didn't really have gardening space like we have now in our backyard. We only have like half an acre, and that's including the house, and have a blueberry enclosure in there, which is about what 12 by 12 or something, and another enclosure, and four probably 12-foot raised beds, but only around 2 feet across. And the reason is I don't want to reach farther than 2 feet. I got to tell you, that's something I learned because I had the big bed. When you buy a raised bed kit at like Home Depot, it's what, a 4 by 4. So
Yeah.
you get 4 even pieces of lumber. Well, the thing is, you get a couple of those kits, you can cut some of those 4 by 4 pieces in half and put the ends up. And then you have like, oh, there's an 8 foot. So I found out that I like gardening if it's easy to do because
That's true.
I've gotten lazier and I don't like to pull weeds. So if something is growing, I want to be able to have access to it. I mean, I don't want critters to come get it, bugs to come get it, diseases to come and get it. And everything you put out there, something else wants.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
why that's why it's helpful to like have like the cooperative extension service, because you could take a picture of something, or you say, I don't know what this thing is. It's some weird insect, and you take it in, and they'll say, you should spray for that, and this is what you should do if you're doing it on food-related plants, and this is if it's a ornamental or flowers, or if it's a disease. Oh, that's powdery mildew, or that's something else. That's what's causing this to happen. Why are the leaves browning out on the bottom of your tomato plants? Then you learn you take the bottom leaves off and you try not to splash when you water, because when you
Yes.
splash, the water comes up and it brings up all the bacteria in the soil to the underside of the
Oh,
leaves and it spreads. So then I learned about, okay, you can use drip irrigation. Just take a perforated hose, run it out there, connect it, let it run for a while, and it doesn't splash. And your crops are doing better, and you lose less water because it's going right into the soil rather than spraying all over the place, and you're not getting the leaves wet, which can be
yes.
damaging to them also. So,
I think that I figured that out. I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to actually get that's on my own. Just I think that's the coolest thing. It's been what 20. So I'm like on my sixth season. Like I don't know how that works. 5 years, but this is my sixth time doing this. And I'll say the things I've learned from organic gardening, like just
mhm.
going at it, it's been so fun. I feel like I feel healthier. I feel like everything is like you're right. Once you take that first cherry tomato right off the vine, it's so good. I've That's what
Yeah.
really got me. So also I grew up on the Texas border in Mexico. When I was a kid, we used to go over to excuse me real quick. We used to go over to what do you call it, Ciudad Acuña, and we go visit family or like my aunts or something. But a dollar goes a long way over there. So I would
Mhm.
go across the street. There was a fruteria, just a little fruit stand, and the guy'd give the guy $1, and he'd be like, "Oh, dude, I got you all day." So I would eat just
Wow.
cucumbers, lime, and salt. That was it, or cucumber, lime, or he gave me jamaica or just something. But it was just the fruit, the root, or the vegetable with lime and salt, or a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, something like that, and that was all I
Not cooked.
ate.
Not cooked, just raw, you mean?
No. Yes, the cucumbers raw, the jamaicas raw, the roots would be raw, but they'd be like not tenderized, but like shaved down to where it was like chewable,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Okay.
So it's like so stuff like that. So I was gonna tell you earlier when you said something, I was like you said eating. I was like, yeah, because like I'm not a big smoothie person. I remember when I went to the smoothie thing, I was like, these things taste like sugars. Like you're just getting the sugar
Yeah. Yeah.
from the thing. And then I started reading it, and I was like, well, fiber. I got into fiber a long time ago, like high fiber, like how I did like like I in my like late 20s, and I started looking at it, and I go, don't you want the seeds? Don't you want the fiber to help you digest? Don't you? Isn't that what's supposed to be the stuff like
Mhm.
flaxseed or chia seeds? Those seeds they go on the food to help it process. So every time I do, I love smoothies, but to me, I feel like it's a soft drink almost, right? I I just juicing and all that. I just rather eat the thing. So I'll share this with you, Jim. I've been doing a whole lot, and my time has just been like boom, waking up. Like I wake up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I already get started with everything. I also have a job. I do all this stuff, right? I think I forgot to take care of myself because for like 7 Sundays, I was eating like a sleeve of Oreos with milk just because I was like, exhausted, tired, and it just felt good,
Yeah.
right? Not working out. I didn't work. I ran like maybe 4 or 5 times last year. So when I was 40, I like for some reason I was like, I'm gonna do more work and then do less exercise. Something happened to me mid-February where I started getting, and I don't know what I started getting like gallstone symptoms. Like I could actually feel like them in
Mm.
my stomach. I felt like ulcer and stuff. So instantly just said, all right, I think February 13th, I think I was like, that's the last time I had a Coke. Last time I had candy. Last time I had sugar. I've had brownies. Like my mother-in-law make brownies are really good, so I'll dip in
Mhm.
those. I had like on Easter, I had like 3 of those. I was like, I don't care. But what it was doing, it was like any sugar, any processed food or anything. Like I stopped eating fast food. It would like lock me up, and then like your stomach, it would just hurt. So I, as in my youth and my younger, I mean, I'm still whatever. But in my teens and my 20s and my 30s, I always saw myself to run and eat, like, eat better, eat better, eat better. And somewhere in my 40s, I knew I was like, when I turned 40, I'm gonna stop drinking Cokes. I didn't stop doing it. I kept going. But since I stopped drinking Cokes, I know how to garden, and I started eating more organic. I've just kicked it in. Like I haven't even realized. I just go, and I feel now it's just like my mind feels better. I went back. I went to the doctor finally. I waited like 6 weeks, and they said there's not really there's nothing. You don't have gallstones. There's nothing there.
Oh,
But I
nice.
already so since I was working with those 6 weeks, but I didn't stress out. I didn't want to panic. I didn't want to imagine anything. I'm a creative. I don't want to create ideas in my head. So I just said whatever. But finally, I was told like you need to go to the doctor now. I was like, fine. I don't feel it anymore. I don't feel pain, but I'll go. I went. They told me to go get an ultrasound. Got an ultrasound. They didn't see anything. They're like, okay. I came back. I was like, all right. And I think it's just I don't want to jinx myself, but I think it's just one of those things where it's just like I know better, but I wasn't doing better. And I think it's once I started applying just everything I knew and just stopped kind of just BSing and just really start like now because I feel like my garden. I want to show you a little video in a little bit. I think it looks a little bit more serious than where I've normally let it just have fun and let it grow on its own. Oh, these are mites. How do you get rid of mites? Oh, you buy ladybugs. Put some ladybugs in there. Oh, what do you do?
Oh,
How do you get rid of these stink bugs? You put praying mantis. Let's go put praying mantis in the garden. Which my praying mantis eggs never blossomed or sprouted or whatever grown. So I don't know if the praying mantis works. But when you do the tomatoes, certain things come, certain insects, the hard shell insects start coming. You can't get rid of those with soap and water. You really have to get them out. So I caught
yeah.
myself last year with a shop vac and just getting out there on a chair and just sucking them all out of my
Wow.
garden because there was a lot, but I didn't want to spray any. I don't want to spray any sprays. I don't want to do any extra work. Just organically, just go out there, and just suck them out. Like I was doing it. I'll do it for like 4 or 5 days in a row, and then they'll go away for like a week or two, and then they'll come back. I'll do it for it's like it turned into me versus them wanting the tomatoes. Now this is where I'm at now with this because it's down in my head. Like I see people that garden, and I got to give a shout out to my friend Michael Segura. He was the one I texted. He started posting pictures of his garden, and I was like, "Hey man, how do you garden?" He goes, "You put this in the dirt, and you put this Miracle Grow, and then you wait." And I was like, "Those are 3 steps." He goes, "Yeah, they're 3 very easy steps." I go, "That's it?" "Yes, you should do it." "When?" "Now." "What do you mean, like
Yeah.
right now?" And I heard this quote a long time ago from my buddy Joe Viello. He said, "When's the best time to plant a tree?" "Today."
Today. That's good
And
too.
so I said, so I was like, okay. And I just started figuring out. So I started with the radishes. Oh no, that was after the radishes. I was like, why did I not? Because one thing I had to learn was I had to, well, one, I have to learn to slow down. But two, I've learned that it's okay to ask. But I don't want to feel like I'm wasting people's time. And I don't really want to feel it. But some people, like, I don't mind answering questions on movies and stuff. I don't mind. But people don't only ask me once in a while, ask my opinion, if anything. But if somebody asks me, like, how do you get this shot or how do I work on this animation? I don't mind kind of like, just do this. So I started asking people, like, how do you do stuff? And when I asked him, he was like, yeah, just that. And that's all it took. Literally, it just took me to just say, okay, fine.
You know,
And
somebody once, not to interrupt, but somebody once said, if if I have $1 and you have $1 and I give you $1, you have $2 and I have no dollars. But if I give you an idea and you give me an idea, we both have 2 ideas.
that's good because I'd rather have that. I'd rather have
Mhm.
this. I'd rather have a way out or a way in, a way to protect, a way to go around, opposed to just this is it and that's it. This is what we do and that's it. And that's a good one. The one with the tree though. We have a when my son was when he was in the incubator, like I say, we got a tree from his great grandmother or a little tree like this, and we planted it, and that was 8 years ago. And I see that tree, and all I could tell myself is, why didn't I plant more? Why? But it's okay to like I want to plant apple trees. This is where I wanted to say about the things I was having strong in my stomach. I was always introduced to apple cider vinegar, so I would take those shots. I hadn't done those all my 40s, so I was like, okay, do some more apple cider vinegar. Started eating an apple a day. I did that when I was 21, and I was going to school at Texas State University, and we had the co-op where they go eat or the chow hall, whatever.
Mhm.
And on the way out, they just have apples, and I was just grabbing apple and eat apple for like the whole year. I did that, and I was always go eat there and grab an apple. And then friends started telling me, "Dude, your teeth are like shiny." It's like, "Oh, your skin complexion looks better." And I was like, "Okay." And I was just because I was eating the apples, you know. I think that's what
Yeah.
it was. And then as now, when I started, my stomach was acting up. I started just eating like 2 apples a day in the morning, 2 apples in the morning, 2 apples at night. You know, I didn't go Christian Bale with it, where I just ate an apple to lose a lot of weight or anything. But in 3 weeks, I lost like 18 pounds because I had 18 pounds to lose. I didn't realize
Wow.
that because
Wow.
but I started. Oh, I fasted for 4 days too, and one of my coworker's like 26, and he has a little bit of a problem with esophagus, and he has a thank you, Luna, and Luna gave us a shout out. But he said, what did you do? How do you? I go, I fasted. You fasted? Yeah, for how long? 4 days. He goes, oh man, how could you go 4 days without eating? I go, you just drink water and just let it do its thing. But
Hmm.
I felt so much better after that because I think just what do you call it, eating the apples, and that's why I'm like I want to plant. I do want to buy a piece of land not too far outside of Austin, just so I could put apple trees. That's all I want, just so we can go. Because one of the first times I went to California, my first time I went to California, one thing I thought liked about it was I went with Sterling, a gentleman friend of mine that's like 20 years older than me. He needed help bring a car back, so I like a classic car. We drove it like we drove in a big truck in a trailer, and the first thing I saw was a orange tree. And he pulls over and he goes, "Look, I see the way you're looking at that tree. Go grab that orange." I go, "What?" He goes, "Just it's out there. It's in public. Go grab it." And I went, I pulled it. And he goes, "Take a bite." I was like, "What? Eat it." And I took a bite and I was like, "Damn, that's good." And that's
Yeah.
where I really started to understand what organic was. Because also too, when I first moved to Austin, you buy it's like organic this, organic that. You start buying it, you put it in the fridge. 3 days later, it's gone. You know, it's like it's rotted, wilted, it's looking bad. You're like, what's wrong with this?
Yeah.
But
That's
you want that. You want that though. You don't want it to live longer than supposed to. You want it to be made, eat, go through your body, get nutrition, and move it on. I don't want a vegetable that's been in my refrigerator for 2 months. That's just like, hey, what's up? It's like,
yeah.
you know, but that's why. So and that being said, earlier when you had mentioned what do you call it? Oh, hold on. I have my friend Luna. Fasting properly can be a very effective way to regulate your body. I fast. This is Luna Reese. She plays Valencia. Jim, I was casted to be part of the show Escándalo improv telenovela. So I do a lot of overacting, embellishing it as a telenovela
Hmm.
star on the stage. And
Make it
my
large.
yes, very. That's why the hair's been hanging around a little bit more.
Uh,
The hair is very dramatic. But my
that's another
character's name,
blessing you have.
yeah, my utility belt. But that character's name, I had to create a character. That character's name is Lorenzo Lonjas Jr. For those who don't speak Spanish, Lonjas means love handles. So it's just Brian. He's like kind of an out of shape guy. So, but he's created because I used to watch The Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas
Yeah.
back in the 90s. So that's kind of I used to watch that show, and then with his with his sidekick Bobby, I'm sorry, I don't even know the gentleman's name. I didn't memorize it, but that guy, I just kind of look like I'm a combination between the renegade and the Indian sidekick, like the Native American sidekick, and I'm like kind of a mix of both. So that's my character is very. He's also because like I'm growing him as a character, and he's very dramatic. But I think it's because he's on the cover of romance novels. So that's my character. That's how he makes his living. Thank you. Yeah,
Hmm.
and Luna has talked about fasting on stage, and she's a very avid faster. So I think it's great. I think it's that your body process things. But the reason I wanted to say that was because as an actor, you had mentioned earlier, you said you're as a struggling actor, and that always when I was younger, people used to like. Cause I've been acting since I was a kid, and I remember people used to take low blows at me and say, "Oh, the actor, he's struggling. Oh, he's a struggling." I'd be like, "I'm not struggling. You know, I'm a comic." So I would say stuff like, "Oh, am I struggling?" Like, sorry, Jim, I don't mean to be rude, but somebody would tell me that to my face, or we'd be drinking, and I'd be like, "Oh no, my career is not struggling." Well, not like that belt is to hold your seam up, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you're me," and I'm like, "Well, you just were like talking about me like this." So I
Hmm.
always wondered how do you like how would I make it as an actor? And now I can basically tell people you could wait tables. You could. That's what I did. You could work. You can make your own job. You can be a vendor. You can find other ways. You can straight go into a theater and start working at the theater and just learn to live within a fixed income. But My thing was I was never a struggling actor. I was actually a struggling human being. So in my 20s, I worked on that because the acting I can do. The human being was the hard part. Being a person was hard. Learning to react, learning to take real life, opinions. So I'm working on myself there. You're never quite fixed. You're always, it's like the broken vase. It still works once you put it together, but it's just, just looks different. It works different. So when somebody would tell me that, I'd be like, all right, whatever. But here I am still doing it after since the '90s. So I don't care. But for you, when what was the point where was it your acting that you started taking more serious, or was it something that you just started jumping on opportunities, or because I really want to know how did you get on the set of Dawn of the Dead 1978? Like how did you? Like I'm pretty sure you've talked about this, but I want for my show I want to know exactly.
Oh, certainly, certainly. That's an easy one. Tom Savini said, "Hey Jim, I got a great role for you." Okay, that's a simple answer. So how does Tom Savini know me? How did I know Tom?
Yes, how did you get there?
Do I have you net? No, I have you now. You got the okay. When I was in high school, I did a lot of writing for the school paper, the local newspaper. I ended up with a journalism scholarship to Point Park College in Pittsburgh, and also in the journalism department, Tom Savini, and another friend, Bill Royston, who later started the Pittsburgh Laboratory Theater. And because the college had a theater program, we
Sorry,
were in
sorry, Jim.
journalism.
I'm getting a little bit of. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I had a little bit of feedback. It's gone. Sorry, cover it.
The Point Park had the Pittsburgh Playhouse, so they had a theater program, but we were not enrolled in a theater program. We were in a journalism program, so we started an alternative theater company at the college.
Okay.
And we worked closely with Tom. We did like the Rhinoceros and Zoo Story, and Tom and I played the only two characters in that. So we got to be, comfortable with each other and each other's ways of doing things. On stage, you have to work with folks. Well, after college, uh, Tom went into the Army and went to Vietnam as a combat photographer. I went in the Army for 3 years, including a year in Vietnam as a combat medic. So there's that time from the end of college to a few years later, and I found myself back in Pittsburgh because I'm not originally from Pittsburgh. I'm more from central part of the state, Pennsylvania. And I ran into Tom, and literally, Tom said, I haven't seen you for a while. Oh, you're this great. I've got a great role for you. And he said, he said, you know George Romero? And I said, let me think. He said, you know Night of the Living Dead? I said, everybody knows Night of the Living Dead. And you have to understand at the time, Night of the Living Dead was pretty risque, if you might, in terms of leading edge, bleeding edge, and being in black and white, great dramatic statement, social commentary, gore, people biting into other people. So if you were associated with somebody who did a movie like that, and I was working as an actor in Pittsburgh, I worked with two different theater companies. So the question you have to face is, if I do that, will I ever work again as an actor? And people think, well, of course you would. Everybody would want to do that. Yeah, looking at it 50, 60 years later, you'd say that. But at the time, it's a risky decision. But I trusted Tom, and he said, well, come on over to the workshop. We did the head casting. We had to do a complete head cast, breathing through a straw for like 20 minutes while apply the alginate and then the plaster on top of that. So you have to really trust the person you're working with because you can't hear or see, and your lifeline is that straw, and you're not supposed to be moving because it's trying to pick up all the details in your face.
Yeah.
And I decided at that point, I was claustrophobic. But
Oh wow.
I was so glad to be out of that. And then Tom called a couple days later and said, Jim, little problem, the plaster cracked. We have to do it again.
Oh man.
Well, still, I could work around my rehearsal schedule for the theater company I was in. So went over, we did it again. And then a couple of weeks later, we were on set. Well, from that cast that Tom made of my head, he put on the extra prosthetics and built up inch and a half, something like that on top with the extra hair and the beard to make it a little more proportional. And if you know how the effect was done, um, the blood tubes were embedded into the prosthetics
Yeah.
in the top, and they ran down my shirt. That's why I was wearing like a dickie around there
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
hold it
Yeah.
all together. Down the back of my trousers, and the top piece, if you think of it like a little personal pan pizza, cut into chunks. This is with the hair and everything, cut into chunks and threaded together with clear monofilament fishing line, like maybe that much apart between each piece. So all this comes together, and then that's on the top of my head. It's holding together pretty well until on cue, I'm on top of the boxes under the helicopter blades, and Tom gives the cue, and somebody off camera with another piece of monofilament line attached to the top of my head, and that piece pulls it, and that comes off as a series of chunks, which I thought was just brilliant. I really do. And I've slowed it down. I thought that thing looks good, but it that's how that came off. And then of course Tom and another guy are behind the box at pumping furiously on these he called them fire extinguisher pumps, but they had the fake blood in.
Yeah. I've been on
Walk up,
those.
and then so if you look at the pictures, I got two streams of blood coming down the top of my head.
And those are just two
And
tubes right here, like just two actual
yeah,
tubes, like right there.
mhm.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they were embedded into the piece that was still in there
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
top. And
I mean, you can't
so,
see them. You can't see them, but they're just two. They're just two
yeah,
tubes just on top of your head. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's where all the blood came from. Grand
And then
mess.
did they show you the schematics, or did they just make it up on the spot? Did they actually show you like, hey Jim, this is how it's gonna look, or they were like, let's figure it out?
No, Tom did the head casting. I didn't have a script. I didn't know. I'll tell you how impromptu it might have been. I'm there in makeup on set, waiting, and then the second day, uh, Tom said, "Okay, well, we're ready for you." So I'm in full makeup, ready to go out. He said, "We're going to go over here to the plane." I said, "Tom, I got a question for you." I said, "I haven't seen the script." I said, "Do these zombies talk or anything? And how do they move?" I hadn't seen any other zombie movements. I wasn't at the mall. I didn't know what other people were doing. So it was just like, "Okay, Tom, hey, like? What do you want me to do here?" He said, "You can just kind of be your best zombie." I said, "Okay, got it." So what do you call on? You call on your memories. You call on the films you've seen as a kid and anything that's representative of a monster. Some people, mentioned it seems like a little like Frankenstein. Well, I had to think. Okay, now here's this creature. He's been dead, so he's not going to necessarily move smoothly, jog, and all this other stuff. It's probably movements are going to be somewhat jerky, and you know, but still consents. Here's the motor and the helicopter engine going, and starts ambling over that way for lunch. Uh, so that's the amount of instruction I got on how to walk and act like a zombie. And it's kind of funny. Jeremy Ambler, who was one of the ghouls on The Walking Dead, we found ourselves together at a show, and I said, "Jeremy, what kind of things did they tell you in terms of being a zombie on The Walking Dead?" And he did, and so we got together. We decided next show we would do one of the panels on the differences between being a Romero zombie, from the 60s, 70s, 80s, perhaps. That's the 1900s. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yes,
1960s,
yes.
70s, 80s. Okay, and the Walking Dead. Here we are. What, 40 years after that or something. And I think, okay. So I would tell what I had to go through, just in terms of the makeup and the direction, which was, you could say, minimal. But Tom knew what I could do. We had a lot in common about a love of the classic monsters, like Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon. These were our high school friends. These were our people. These are my peeps. So he had a sense of what I could do, and I was grateful for that. And Jeremy would talk about, well, they would tell you every zombie does not limp. They all don't have a broken arm. Their heads are not all like that. And they have them in a large scale room, and people would walk. Don't do that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And then bring your own individual personality into it. I mean, it was really quite. If you can imagine a zombie audition, bring 100 people into a room and say, okay, all of you, walk like a zombie. Oh, well, what are they going to do? They're going to walk like they've seen zombies walk before, correct? Because that's what's in their heads. And when everybody's going, it looks like, and no, we need more individuality, more personality. Like when George Romero was asked, why are zombies scary? What did he say? Because they're your neighbors.
Oh,
And
wow.
if you think about it, the horror monsters of old, okay, you had the Thing, and the Thing was a thing, and all the people, tried to fight it and defend themselves against it. And you get into the giant monsters like Godzilla and Mothra and whoever else, and they're attacking a city, and all the people in the city, they're all together. They're united. They're trying to repel and destroy the monsters. You come to Dracula, well, everybody knows that he's the bad guy, and then the people come with pitchforks and torches, to the castle. And Frankenstein, same things. People were united because they called on their neighbors. What does George Romero say? They're scary because they are your neighbors, the zombies, the ghouls. And he didn't call them zombies in Dawn of the Dead. They were ghouls, the undead, whatever. But it really turns your mind to what would I do if I couldn't count on my neighbors?
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't mean to go on and on and on,
No,
but I'm
that's
good.
good. No,
I'm good at
I
going on
love
and
that.
on and on.
No, it's zombie talk. I got you. You're the zombie guy to talk to. I was looking over here because I don't remember. I have my actual Marvel Comics the zombie episode issue. I bought it for like $10. It's like $100 now. But one thing I liked about it was they have it where because I had thought about this idea when I was younger. I was like, you know, it'd be crazy if you're a zombie and if you ate a brain, you could like think normal because you ate a brain and it'd be like nutrition. And then they did it in that comic book. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, look. And I found out about parallel thinking or just common interest things. And
Yeah.
zombies, one of those. But in 2015, one of my first official screenwriting classes that I took at the Austin Community College, ACC, I I wrote a script, a short movie called Phase One. Now, Phase One was at the time when all the zombie movies were coming out, like World War Z, and like the
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't remember. There's tons of them.
Raider and so forth.
Yeah, like there's tons of them. So even The Walking Dead just came out. So I was like, oh no, it's 2015. Walking Dead been out. So I'd been out. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll do this. I don't know why it came to me. I just did it. But basically, Phase One is like every time we see a zombie movie or like an outbreak, it's just like somebody going like, or ouch, hit you, huh. Then it's like a little story and then a pandemic or something crazy, something happens, you know,
Yeah.
insanity. And I was like, I want to slow it down. And this is me from this is my brain from 12 years ago. I want to slow it, or 10 years ago. I want to slow it down, and I want to hang out with the decomposing live person that's turning into the zombie, kind of thing. So I wrote that process. But now I read that script, and I'd use that script, and people would be like, "This script sucks." Like it's not. And I think about it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I didn't really know how to write, but now I do. And with the power of, I am an illustrator and artist, but I'm not that good. But I can take my illustrations and my art, and I can put them with my AI, and I can make the animated
Nice.
helicopter
Nice
zombie.
fucking critter you got there.
There he is. And for those, we were just talking about the scene. I have to show the scene because I want people to see. So right now,
Sure.
I'll show it. But this is how Jim looks. And if I'm not mistaken, Jim, aren't you a tall fella? Aren't you about 6'7",
No, not
six
6'7", 6'4".
6'4"? Okay, you're tall,
Moderately tall.
moderate. So that height. Well, David Mass is like 6'7". He's tall too, right? So
Hmm.
at that height, being a tall zombie. And then so being, I mean, you just told me Frankenstein. I'm like, that kind of makes sense. If that was is that what you have to draw from your memory? Kind of, you're just a towering guy.
Well, he is,
Do you-
but in terms of movement, I was thinking mostly in terms of movement. How does this guy walk? What
yeah.
what internal mechanism is it that propels you? You know?
So as my director brain, I was always on, and if I knew a friend that was 6'4", I want to know what's going on with Tom's brain, where he just sees you and goes, "Oh, helicopter!" Like I don't know, like he's like, I just see him I don't know, he's visualizing the who I got this death. I want to do this death. Who do I have? I have nobody. There's nobody can do this death. I want, and all of a sudden he just runs into you. It's like
Well, here's the
perfect.
thing: if you had to do more than one take, you need somebody tall. If you're going to keep whittling them down.
That's true. The helicopter. All right, hold on. I'm gonna show the clip real quick. I got it loaded. So for
Yeah.
everyone, it's only 30 seconds. I want everybody to check out this clip of the helicopter zombie. Here we go. Dawn of the Dead. Let me turn down the volume just a little bit because it is coming in kind of hot. Oh no, volume. No. Here we go.
Roger!
That is so
Pretty amazing.
awesome. How long did that scene like that? Or I guess how long did it take you, like even from on that day to like get to that point, set up and everything? How long was it? A full day just for that 30-second clip,
Yeah,
or
I'm going to guess about an hour.
oh wow, he's fast.
I mean, we were prepped, and here's the thing: there are a lot of special effects in Dawn of the Dead. Head blasted, the machete in the head, ear screwdriver, all of these things Tom had worked out in advance, and the timing for them, of course, is crucial because it has to stay within the rhythm of the film. So, in this particular case, of course, George Romero's directing, and he handled the stuff under the earlier part that you didn't see was when I come out from under an airplane wing and my attention is drawn to the sound of the helicopter.
Oh,
And so George was there, I want to do this, and newspaper flies by, and this. When it came to the actual effect and me coming up onto the boxes, he knew that Tom had the timing down and what had to happen and when. And George didn't need to necessarily know all of that in detail. He had a general idea what was to happen, and pretty much Tom directed it. That sequence. As I imagine he did several other special effects types of sequences. So George handled, most of it. When it came to that scene, Tom Savini did the direction and, made the calls on what's happening when, where, shoot. So when it happened, I've been anticipating this. I did the makeup. I wanted to see what was going to happen. We did the scene, and I picked myself up all good and gory, and there's George, looking at the. He's just, wow, that was great. That was great. That was great. Okay, now let's go on to the next scene.
oh wow.
I'm still up. I'm dead, but I'm still up because I am so juiced. I'm just so ready to do more. And it's some kind of magic elixir that when you're an actor and things go well and you feel like you're in the moment, and the director likes it, and everything was done in one take. So it really was a bit of magic. For a long time. It's been out since '78. The That scene was one of the top 5 zombie deaths of all times. Now it's like in the top 8. Of course,
Oh
it's
wow,
been
that's so
50
good,
some
man.
years practically. So
Holds weight.
uh,
It holds weight.
yeah,
Have you done any other any special effects on anything like that, Jim, or just that one?
for those, um, trying to think. Well, yeah, we did Coffin Tooth recently. We just saw a premiere of that down in Virginia, and I play a sheriff, and I'm sitting in my patrol car, and I I don't want to
Oh, no,
spoil
no,
it
no.
for
We
you.
don't. Don't spoil. Don't spoil. Don't spoil. Don't, wait, I get you. I get you. So you're still doing it. Ugh.
Yeah, there's
Because
that, and that was a lot of fun too. Um, there's a film we did called A Host of Sparrows, and I play a hitman. And my wife and I
oh,
go
I saw the
to
stills.
it was a fun film. That was one of my favorite films too. I have a lot of favorite films, but I like that one because it gave me an opportunity to do some different things. But in one of the scenes, my wife and I move some bricks, and there's an explosion, and we get kind of blown away. So that yeah, there were some effects there. Um, I've gotten stabbed in the arm with a screwdriver stuck in it, things like that. But
Okay.
you know, some of those things are just fun to see when you say, on screen that looks pretty good. And I
Yeah.
have this patch of, skin that I have from that application, and my little souvenir.
And I just talking to you right now, I'm getting so like I'm getting so hyped because you're right. Because whenever you're like, it's not also like stage is the same way, filmmaking. Whenever you're right, you're juiced. You want to let's do it again, and that's kind of what I've been kind of doing. I've been like stage, film,
Yeah,
stage, film.
yeah,
I did have to tell myself as an actor, like, hey man, you're talking to a director, like you don't need to have your director hat on unless they ask you. But at the moment, you're just an actor, and at that, you only pay me for an actor, so I'm not doing other jobs that I can do. But and I'm trying. I like that. I have to tell myself that because it's like you let that person take the wheel and you're gonna let you drive with it. You get behind them.
yeah.
I was Robbie Lopez's latest film, The Old House, and we shot in Kansas City mid March, and God, one of the funniest scenes that happened was just like it's not even. It's like I hope it makes the blooper reel. So I play a character that has like I don't know. We have. I want to talk to you about this too. But there's a fight, and I end up on the ground, end up getting choked, and one of the sisters, one of my sisters in the fight, is supposed to stab the guy, but the actress didn't know who to stab, so she stabbed me, and then the way she did it was so slow, I could feel the stab, and I'm like, "Wait, what? Did you just stab me?"
Did you get actually stabbed?
No, no, it was a fake knife, like,
Oh
it's like the
no,
whole thing.
no.
But it's funny because the scene is supposed to require the guy gets stabbed, and there's a pause, and then we're supposed to react. Well, we still got that motion, but just out of my character. And it was just so dumb because we just recorded it, and the director's like, Robbie's like, oh man, but it was just so funny. It's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, if you don't really know, you gotta feel for it. And we went into the shot again, we got it right. But that was funny. But that's been leading me to I've been enjoying fight choreography. I've done 3 movies in a row where there's some kind of fight choreography, and I've been I'm like, I want to explore this more. I want to go more into that. If I could keep for even if I'm just getting beat up or something, like it's not the way you sell a fight scene, it's not the person throwing the punch, it's the person receiving the punch. So it's
Yeah,
that
the
person that's
reaction.
the reaction, and that's what I like about it on the show. Oh, you gotta, that's what I like about the show, the telenovela show, Escándalo, because it's always a bunch of hits and this and that, and we joke around, but it's just making fun of TV shows. But I think the fact that I'm getting into that too is just the fight choreography, the learning how to set it up, the camera, the angle, like everything to there, and I'm finding out I've met a few fight choreographers, and they have like a hybrid mind of director and cinematographer because they have to kind of know what they're looking for or how to get it. So I kind of
Mhm.
noticed that when I see them do something like that, I'm like, hey, you're using your director brain, and you're using your whoa, okay. But yeah, I did want to share one more thing with you before we talk about the last thing I want to talk about, because I know you got to go. And I want to say that this is like a this is the mental health portion of my show. But I left the tool over here, so let me grab it real quick, and I will just reach over and grab this
I'll
thing.
grab this real quick.
I I start a bunch of hobbies, and as an actor, I like to always just like refine my tools. And a couple of weeks ago, I think like I bought this thing like 3 months ago, and I was like, I need to start doing it because I've always wanted to do it, but I never really started doing it till recently. And I got this new hobby that I love. It's called wood whittling. So this is a piece of wood. I'm turning it
Yeah.
into it's a bibbity bobbity stick. It's a wand. So I made another one, but I can't find the prototype. I finished one. I don't know what I did with it. But Jim, this is so cool. I don't know if you've ever done wood whittling, but just kind of like carving out what you want. Like this is gonna be a little wand for like
Hmm.
my son doing that. And oh man, I ended up getting a nasty callus. And I had to like take a couple of days off because it got really bad. But I've been doing this. I gotta say, I am an addict, and I try to find things outside of the box, outside because this being on social media all day, playing video games all day, that's an addiction, and I don't want to get stuck in it. And that's why some of my social media posts are bad, or I'm just kind of like I've been on the computer all day. But I started doing this thing, and only because when I was 21, I was just lost and scared. You go to school, you know what you want to do. I ended up talking to like career services, and they let me do a the Campbell's aptitude test, and that thing kind of tells you what you'd be good at, or maybe you should try out, or maybe you figure out. And it has a bunch of random little tests in there. But they said they literally told me, they said, "Hey, dude, your number one job is actor." So like you have three scores back, and my number one was actor, actor, actor. And then after that, it said like something in sales, and then something to do in construction, and then something. But it said it said military was the worst thing I could do. It said never go to the military. I was like, okay. I had like low numbers in there. Like they're some like low. And then, but it said, you might have a passion in wood. So look into wood and crafts. And I was like, what? That's silly.
Huh.
So I started doing, but I'll say that this, like the issues with addiction and everything, the compulsive, this gets rid of it for me. Like I wish I had my other one. My other one is very detailed. It's a wand, but this is just a stick I found outside, and it was like this big, and I just willed it down. And but it does something for me that kind of like the gardening does, but the gardening is more of a success feel, as in like you put some time into it, you get a reward at the end. That's what I like. This thing is kind of like something for me. I don't know. I wanted to share that with you. I wonder know if you ever
So,
done anything like that.
your program is where movies and mental health meet. And we did talk about gardening, and I'm glad you mentioned the mental health aspect of gardening, because there are times when the world is just too much with us. And I can take my little bench and I can just go sit in the garden and I can just watch. I'll watch an ant, walk across a piece of wood. I'll watch, a drop of water fall off a leaf. I'll try to talk to and encourage plants, in the way I think they should grow. I tell the strawberries they're looking beautiful and I love their buds, and I will protect them from the birds. I'll put bird netting over them and all this stuff. And there's a sense of peace that comes with that. And part of it is just getting away from everything else that you're doing and just focusing and being one with the garden as much as that, as much as you can do without going off the deep end, to get a feel for what life is, what comes out of the soil, what comes out of the sky, the sounds of the birds around you. And when you get into that place, it's a good place to be. And suddenly all these things that have been bothering you, they don't magically disappear, but you're maybe a little better able to cope with them.
That's perfect. Like that's how I feel. You're right. I do. I love sitting there. I love watching I love watching, like you said, the birds. I When I go for my morning runs, and I'm just sitting here and the birds go, and then the other one goes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, that's how you make music. Wow. You know, I love listening to music that doesn't have words. You know, like there's a band called Explosion in the Sky, and just like the movie Friday Night Lights. They did the whole soundtrack for that. It's just dramatic kind of music, and I never realized that I really like that music so much because I was like, I can't say anything, but I feel it, I vibe. And then the other day, I was just like, I haven't heard this song in a long time. I want to hear it. So I started hearing the song, and I started humming to it. And I was like, I'll just be like the birds. The birds, they like to hum, and I'm just gonna hum this song. And it felt so good humming a song for like 2 3 minutes, being like, oh wow, look, I can just I feel good about myself just humming a song. Like, and it's I'm mimicking the birds. I'm mimicking the things around me, the noises around me because I'm not plugged in. So as we're getting back, we're about to finish our conversation, and I wanna show you something because I thought it was very important for me because I'm doing a timestamp as well, Jim. It was very important to me to actually meet up with you because I wanted to show you, and then I'm happy that you said something earlier about the it's after Mother's Day because Mother's Day is coming up. It's a good time for planning. Well, I started back in February.
Mm.
My other garden, but I had we had our deck replaced, the wood, and what do you call it? I had just the old piece of wood there, and the grass in the front yard started dying, and it died, and it went away, and I was like, and it's just a bunch of weeds, so I kept getting rid of the weeds, and I said, you know what? I am done with this. I'm gonna do something about this, and there was direct sunlight hitting right on that spot. So I
Mm.
said, you know what? I'm gonna take this wood, all organic. I'm gonna make a huge raised bed in the front. So this photo is from 2 Sundays ago. I kind of got started. I kind of did it, but I didn't do anything till then. So when this show was coming up, I got off of work. I went straight to Lowe's. I got my little my bags. My I got so I do um 2 parts dirt, 2 parts compost, 1 part raised bed soil, and I mix it up
Mhm.
for the nutrition. That's my equation. So I give you, Jim, right here, my new bed, the front
Oh,
yard
looking
lawn.
nice. Things are
So
growing.
and that's just because I got that from no, these are from the low or the lows. I just because they're already
Mhm.
that big, so I was like, I'll just put them in. That's kind of a cheat code in a way, not from seed, but this is gonna grow quicker. So the ones in the front I've had since Sunday, so I kind of whittled a little bit. So I kind of, but the ones in the back, those are all cherry tomatoes, and those are the Alaskan. I mean, not Alaska. Those are the cherry husky tomatoes. Those
Mm.
ones get real bright and real beautiful. And I want to say, so I tell you, I want to timestamp because I'm gonna post about this so you know that today, that's when it officially got started. So we'll
Yeah.
see how long it takes, and at the same time, let's see how many people we can feed with those. See, make a little bundle, see if we give them away, or maybe I'm gonna start selling some of my tomatoes at the flea market because I have been going to the flea market because I have been working on my video store. I brought it to life. This is from 2 months ago.
Mm.
I've grown a lot more because I've where is it at? I had it right here. I had this idea for my video store to bring it alive, and I'm there. I'm at the flea market. Been doing it for here we go. So I created this video store idea. This is from a movie a short movie I made, La Abuelita. She's a ghost, but
Mm.
that was the actual physical video store I was renting out to actually to do this thing, but it didn't work out, and I didn't do it. So I'm doing it now. But the things I'm knowing about the hanging out at the flea market and getting to know your customers, getting to know people that also like movies. Here we go. Here's what I was doing. It's called My Manic Movies Home Video Store. Or sorry, now I changed it to Video Home Store VHS. But it's also going to be a sketch comedy show, and that's from 2024. I gotta get on it. But I have
Nice.
been doing on it. It's all going right because I'm leading to the final thing I want to leave you to is we shot this movie. I'm editing it right now. It's called Sick and Twisted. Ty Gwynn and I made a movie. But it's about stand up comedians trying to do a little human trafficking. That's all, Jim. It's just a regular horror movie, suspense movie.
Oh,
But that
okay.
I got that one. That's all. But the one I want to launch, I've been holding back a lot. I've talked about it for about a month now, and I got a lot of the ideas to it. Is this movie I'm doing called Johnny Can Fly, and the idea is an ordinary guy caught
Great
up in an
image.
extraordinary. Oh,
Nice
thank
image.
you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Basically, I get mistaken for a lot of people since I was a kid and as an adult still. So and they're bad experiences half the time. So
Hmm.
I decided to write about it. So I wrote a movie called Mystic Sombrero. That movie is about what do you call it? Mistaken identity. But I need a budget for this movie, and I want the actors I want to cast in this movie. I already have it; it's already gone. But I'm not there yet. Plus, I've never done a feature. I've only done 13 shorts, so I'm ready to do my first feature. And with this one, it's The Long Goodbye meets Jackie Chan's Mr. Nice Guy. So it's kind of a whodunit action movie. But this is one of the characters in the movie, the guy with the mask, because I get mistaken a lot. So it's going to be just kind of my version of low budget adrenaline move to scene Austin style movie. Um, I wanted to share that with you because I don't really talk too much about this movie, but I think when you talk about it, you've ideated it enough. So now it's time to bring it to life, Jim. So as you see me do this Indiegogo campaign, as you see me do stuff like that, you'll know that this is what I'm talking
I
about.
knew him. I knew him.
Yeah, and also if you happen to get casted in this, and there's having to be a role in this for you, whether it's remote animation or if I can actually get you here, I would love for you to be a character in this movie.
Well,
So
thank you. Thank you.
there will always be a role for you because I know actors
Try to
love
keep
to
our
act.
options open.
And
And you know
if I can get
the musical South Pacific, the song that goes, "You have to have a dream before you can have a dream come true," and kind of harkens back to the beginning of the show when you talked about the Rolling Stones and dreams. And uh, so I wish you the best with that. I think you've got a lot of things happening, and you seem to be in a good, energetic place to get those things done.
thank you. Yeah, I think it's a lot. I'm finding out myself. I also just turned 41, and I think this midlife crisis thing. I'm just holding on, going, let's do this, let's go. But I think it started when I was 37, so I think I gotta move on from that. I'm like, let's just make things. Because I'm around so many people, and I'm around our community now, creatives, and I see so many people, Jim, doing so much with so little, with nothing,
Yeah.
with nothing. And here I am, oh, well, and I'm like, I never used to make excuses, and now I make excuses, and I don't ever want to make excuses ever again. I just want to make things. I just want to create things because, like seeds, time. I mean, seeds need time. So we plant something now. With the time, we can see where we're growing. I didn't really mean to connect the dots how I actually got to you, but that is legitimately the timeline how I got to you, and I could actually show it. It's so crazy. It's so
Mhm.
groovy. I know we're short on time, and I'll probably have to have you back on because I have way more questions about your posts because you have a lot of, you do travel a lot, don't you? Do you kind of move around about a little bit?
A little bit here and there. You mean the
A little bit.
Mothman?
The Mothman, what is that about?
You know the Moth. Have you ever heard the Mothman? The
I
Mothman
know of
prophecy
the.
movie.
I've seen the movie. I know of the
Richard
Mothman,
Gere,
but
Laura Linney, Point
mhm.
Pleasant, West Virginia, along the river. I think is it the Ohio or Kanawha, because there are two rivers that come together there. And people, well, two couples out on a date reported seeing this creature, standing on top of like a four-story building, whatever. The uh, thing had wings. Oh, boy, you got that up. Yep. The thing had
Yeah.
wings and big red eyes, and it was like 7 feet tall. And they were terrified. So they ended up going to the police department like 5, 6 miles away. They came out and investigated, didn't see anything. Somebody else saw this thing, but it was flying alongside their car like at high speed.
Oh wow.
Other people reported sightings of the Mothman. And so he's been kind of identified as a true cryptid, which is unidentified. And at the same time, people had reported in the area of Point Pleasant lights in the sky, lights in the woods, UFOs, all sorts of things were happening. Well, from about 13 months after the first sighting of the Mothman, the bridge over the river, and I do believe it was the Ohio, on Christmas Eve collapsed when it was full of cars. And like 26 people, I believe,
Oh
died
wow.
in that crash. So it was a horrible disaster. And people tried to peg the sightings of the Mothman to the collapse of the bridge. So if you go to Point Pleasant, they have a Mothman museum. you can see copies of the script, The Mothman Prophecies, signed by Richard Gere and Laura Linney and a few other folks. But they also have some other models inside of people's descriptions of what they thought or saw or thought they saw as the Mothman. You'll have letters, handwritten letters from people who saw it. There's about a half-hour documentary film there, and of course they have this nice statue outside.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it really is. And I'd heard about it. I had several friends who had worked on the Mothman Prophecies film, and it was not shot there. It was shot in New Kensington, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But I became especially interested in seeing it, and the more I heard about it, I thought, "Whoa, I just got to go there." So it was our anniversary, and my wife and I decided, well, within a 2-week period, we had both of our birthdays and an anniversary. Let's do something special.
Nice. I like I'm sorry, what's that?
Oh, she offered to drive, and we took several days and did a little bit of touring of caverns and hiking trails in Ohio, and it was just a great trip. But the highlight for me was still seeing the Mothman and the museum.
Yeah, we take trips to Colorado once a year, so we just drive up to like Trinidad. It's right the first point in Colorado from Texas, right out for New Mexico, or we'll go to New Mexico. I like that, like the little roads. But Dylan Glover wrote here, drive over where the TNT plant used to be. It's the creepiest place. It feels dead, all in bold. He said,
Yeah.
dead. If you can take some pictures of birds, do it, please. I went there and I didn't see one bird. Wow. That's kind of cool how the cryptid stories, all these things are like right always next to each other.
Well, it's interesting
Um,
because I asked about the bunkers when I was at the museum, and they said, "Here's a sheet. I have it here somewhere, but here's the actual directions on how to get there. Because if you
oh,
plug it in, on your GPS, you will not get there."
I thought you said here's a sheep. You said here's the
Oh,
sheet.
oh, oh, no, no, sheet, a
Yeah, they
sheet,
said.
cheetah.
So okay, they give you a thing. Yeah, yeah. No, I think I love cryptid stories. I have big feet, so I'm like figuring out who Bigfoot is. I'm like, where you at, cousin?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, they have
I
some of
think
those of course, Pennsylvania too. But there's also no, that's not it. There's also the Flatwoods Monster, which is probably within an hour of Point Pleasant. And that's another.
Flat Woods Monster. I gotta write that
Yes,
down.
yes, 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 yes.
I want to look that up. I've never heard that one before. Flat Wood Monster. I have like 4 or 5 books on cryptids, and I never heard that one.
There's a book. My daughter had actually gone over to Point Pleasant to the Mothman Museum. She picked up a 6-pack of Mothman root beer for me, for which I'm eternally grateful.
Nice.
But she also got me a copy of Strange Creatures in West Virginia. It's all about cryptids in the area. And I didn't realize there were so many strange stories that people had.
Yeah, man, there's tons of them. I have this book here that I just like kind of going through. It's like was
Oh,
makeup.
nice.
Yeah, so there's some kind of like I believe like a monster in there. Like I think not the Jersey Devil, but like a devil kind of thing, looking like that. I do, yeah. My books, I love that I have tons of this stuff now. I get to share and talk about them. But I had one more. I want to let you. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I did have. I literally love that I can now. Like I told my son, you can come in my studio, and you can point at something and ask what it is, and I have a story, you know, about it. And I think that's to me. I think that's kind of where I like the fact that I can like share things with my son, and he's into it.
I
You
think
know,
that's perfect.
I think that's all. He likes the gardening. You know, when he was real little, we call him the cherry picker. He'd be like, "That's my job to pick the tomatoes," and that's what he still wants to do. He's the cherry picker, a cherry tomato picker. He likes learning. He's he knows how to use a microphone because we use karaoke, and he sees me podcasting, streaming. He's like he calls himself Mini CJ. So it really makes me. It scares me, but at the same time, it makes me want to be a better version of myself, or at least hit the things. Not even be a better version of myself. Just do the things I want to do, and the things I don't want to do, just let them go. And or the things I want to do but I can't do, just let them go. Because if you want to do them, they'll come back. And one thing I do love about my show is that I've been consistently doing it for a while now. This is episode 122, and I'm learning more about myself doing this stand up and writing, and just and I'm at a. You're right. I appreciate you saying that. I'm at a place where I want to do it because I think I not feel like I'm at a point where I don't care about opinions about somebody's that say so. I'm more about the art now. Like let the art talk. Does your
Mhm.
art is it I mean, it doesn't have to be the best movie you've ever seen. Is it a good story? How did they make this? Oh, this person doesn't even understand anything about movies, but they're able to put it together and then make it cohesively. I'm all about it now. And I never realized I was like that because I felt like I got a lot of things that were just spoon fed to me. Like you gotta like this, you gotta like that. And I was like, I don't know. I'll make it myself. I'll figure it out myself. But that's one thing I love about the gardening. You can literally just organically just start getting in there. And I'll get questions. What do you use to get rid of this? What do you use? I go, I don't use no pesticides. I don't use anything because that'll go into the food and then it goes into your body. So
Mhm.
what I do is I just really physically remove it. When I have ants, vinegar works. Put a little vinegar over an ant pile, it'll get rid of it. You don't want ants. I'll leave ants alone. They can be wherever they want, but just not by my house because then they'll get into
You
your
you
house.
have slugs as well?
I think I might have some slugs.
Well, what you can do is take a little dish, sort of stick it in the ground level with the soil, and put beer in it. Works like a charm.
I,
I'll tell you, they're having a party. I wish I could be there, but you just empty it out, put it in, new batch.
I just got that
Beer's fine.
information. I just got that information like the second week in March. I told somebody I'm a vendor, I'm a stock boy at our conglomerate grocery store HEB, and I was in the really fancy part of town. Like this is the expensive part, so they got me at that store. And some gentleman came around. And he was like, "You used to do wine? Do you do anything for beer?" And I go, well, I don't drink. But I was like, "What do you need help for?" He goes, "Well, I just need it for my garden." I go, "I garden. What do you need beer for?" And he said exactly that. And he said the stinkier the better. He goes
Yeah.
like Paps works or something. But he says, yeah, you put it in the dirt like this, and then they are like this will be the lid, and then they fall in it, and then they can't get out, and then they drown or they die. But they said that if you look into it, it's a bunch of things. But why slugs? Why do you need to remove slugs from your garden?
Because they tend to proliferate in our area.
Okay.
Well, they will get onto plants. They'll tear them up.
Does it?
Tomatoes, peppers. I'll find them on everything.
Okay, and
We
then
we have a
I'll
lot
get
of, we
out.
have a lot of slugs. So
Thanks for the reminder. But we are hitting
leaf
about.
litter, bricks, blocks, anything. You lift them up, you're going to find slugs. So,
Oh, and
uh,
they're gonna be there.
yeah. And then at night they come
Oh,
into your garden to feed.
yeah, yeah. All
You
right.
can go out with a flashlight and pick them if you want, and then throw them into a jar or something. But I'd like to get my sleep at night. I don't want to. Gee, it's time to go play with the slugs. I should lose some sleep. That sounds like a wonderful idea. No, 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 not going to happen.
No,
Not going to happen.
I'm gonna do that too. The companion planting. I like to put marigolds and basil around the
Mhm.
tomatoes.
Yep.
That's a good one. But I fell in love through this whole process. I love flowers. I always love flowers. Like high school or in junior high, I'd give my girlfriend flowers all the time. But I hibiscus. I love a hibiscus flower.
Huh.
It's just something about it. Like it takes a minute for it to get there. It stays in its pod. It hides. And on a bright sunny day, it decides to come out, and
Mhm.
you give it all its glory and all its beauty, and then it goes away, and that's it. And I think the fact that when it finally opens up, there's a pay for me to be like, oh, how beautiful it is. But you also need flowers for your garden because you need to bring
Pollinators.
the pollinators. You need the insects. You do need that. So it comes a good with the bad. So for my I'll leave us with this on this show because I don't want to keep you much longer. It's already getting late for you,
Yep.
and for myself because I know you're an hour ahead of me. That's what I know,
Yep.
and that means that if I'm at about 9, that's 10 for you. And I know you had a meeting and you'd work, so I don't want to take too much time. But for the movie Johnny Can Fly, it's definitely going to be independent. It's going to be low budget. I can do everything. I did the graphics. I can do everything I can. But I will find a way to see if even if it's just remote, I will put you in there and you'll have a part in that movie.
Oh,
Um, but
thank you.
and that's what I love because also here's a picture of me. There's the cast. So there's actually Luna. The she was talking about fasting earlier. She's on the bottom right. This is from one of
Yeah.
the shows we had. And this is just fun environment I like to be around too. There's people who are just having fun. Where those are the cast and crew. We're just doing that, and I want to bring that kind of energy to any production I'm in, or any producing I'm doing. I want to bring that fun stuff, because sometimes it's not the best, but I noticed that it's just getting people on the same page, and sometimes they're not. You just got to go and just make the movie. And yeah, I'm sorry we didn't get to talk about the horror conventions that I wanted to get
Oh,
to.
oh, yeah. Another
Yeah,
time maybe.
another time, maybe. Yeah, but for yeah, I'll be posting more. I do have a lot of videos on the garden that I wanted to show you, because I actually already have a cucumber that's already, it's this big. It's the slicing
I'm
cucumbers.
envious.
Which
I'm
one?
envious. You've got a longer
So,
growing season, but
but you guys, but y'all have seasons there. I have heat. Like, yes, I do.
uh,
So what? So real quick, what do you put in the garden right now, or as of Mother's Day? What are you gonna be
I
putting in?
put snow peas in. They're coming up. They're about 5, 6 inches. Onions, kale, lettuce. Strawberries are coming up. I've got blossoms on those. And I just took out 3 blueberry bushes that I have in an enclosure and redid the soil and put in 2 new ones, which each have like 2 or 3 plants that have knitted together, and I didn't want to pull them apart. So I'm going to see what happens there. That's going to be exciting. But in terms of weeding, I was not too thrilled about doing that inside an enclosure. So last year I put in some creeping Jenny, which is a low plant, and it spreads and it makes a beautiful yellow, and that's squeezing out all the weeds.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, just things you enjoy doing, and things. I'd like a little lavender out there just so I can go and pinch it and it smells like lavender. Okay, good. You can tell people, hey, you can pinch that and it'll smell like lavender. Really? What do you call that? I call it lavender. Uh, there are fun things you can do too, and just enjoy it. But to have somebody come out and look at your garden and say, "Can you eat that?" I said, "Yeah, in about a week. It's going to be a little tart right now, or this one over here. Just try one of these. You give them a strawberry like that, and they go, "Oh my God, that's good." He says, "Yes, it is good. It is good." So we're going to eat them now, because if we don't, the slugs are going to get on them, and then we don't want them because they're going to, and you got to protect them from the birds. So anyway,
I love that. I love one of
it's a
my.
way to share. It's a way to share the joy of gardening by
I
feeding
love
other
that.
people.
Everything about that I'm on point, and it's like we're kind of segueing to the end. Everything's looping around, because what you just said right now with the lavender, I have an example for us. But one of my favorite things is that when I, like, my son's birthday, we throw out the house, and it's always in like May. So I usually can get a tomatoes. I think I'm gonna have some now, but they're usually about to turn around his birthday. They're right there. But I love when somebody's like, "Can you show me your garden?" Especially like a family member, and they're like, "Yeah." And I show them out there, and they're like, they're looking at it, and I go, "Go ahead." I go, "What? Get it? Get what? Get a tomato." Really? They go, "Yeah." What do I do? You pick I'm not gonna kill it. It just get the tomato, pull it off, and bring it to you. And what do I do with this green thing? Take it off. Do you want to eat it? Go for it. Just eat it. What do you mean? Just eat it. When you got to clean it, just put it in your damn mouth and eat it. I don't use pesticides. It's all organic. And then they
Yeah,
go, and they take it and they go, "Why did I take?" And then they start, and I'm like, It took you like 30 minutes to like want to take it. You're just
yeah,
right there. Just try it. It's fun. It's beautiful." So what you said about the lavender, I wanted to share this with you, because this is one of the things that I think I just fell in love with, and I want to. I'm building an enclosure myself using old windows. Mint.
yes, yes. Grows like crazy.
I love this. It grows like a weed. This is one of my favorite things to do. And you do that because that's what you put in the cocktail and opens the oils. That's what a mixologist
Mhm.
told me. But I love this. I was like, that's it. I think there's give that halitosis. I think that's helped you with your breath. No, I
Sure,
love doing that.
a lot of things. Helps with a lot of
It
things.
it does, and I think I love that with too. It tastes like that spearmint gum, but that's where they get
Yeah,
it from.
yeah, yeah. There's peppermint, spearmint. We've done pineapple mint, mountain mint.
Pineapple mint.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'm learning all this stuff
And
today.
a couple other ones. The only thing is they are just like a weed. They will spread. And you'll say, this is great. This is great. And then a week later, you'll say, how do I get rid of this? Because it's like taking over. So you just
That
have to plan for it and be careful.
that meant we've had it since 2019, something like that, because we had it on the side, and I didn't put it into the garden, so I made it, but it was growing on the side of the house like crazy. And then it had we grew a cilantro, it grew crazy, and parsley. I planted one parsley tree or one plant one time. The root got to be like this thick, and it just kept
Wow.
for like 3 years and multiple seasons. Just kept, and we're like, man, this parsley is
With
crazy.
parsley? Parsley?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Wow.
It
Wow.
was good. And the other one was the other one we planted once, a spicy oregano.
Hmm.
That one we planted one time. I've been having trouble with lavender in Texas, but I need to be more on top of it. But the war just doing that, it's so beautiful. But you know what, Jim? I gotta let you go, man. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
sorry for like taking more of your time. It's getting late. I want to say thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you for letting me be part of this. And like I said, when I figure out your role, because I do have to figure out how I'll get you in this thing. But I'll definitely let you read the script. And yeah, I think it's just the fact that I kind of just I keep telling everybody that are movie people, it's like I'm in the Fight Club, the movie Fight. You seen Fight Club, right?
Mhm.
And it's that part at the very end where the narrator, played by Edward Norton, because he doesn't have a name, the narrator finally overcomes the Tyler Durden syndrome, the Brad Pitt character, and he says, "The gun's not in Tyler's hand. The gun's in my hand." And then there, boom, there's the gun in his hand, and he
Mhm.
realizes he's in control, and he realizes he doesn't have to listen to Tyler because he created Tyler. So I feel
Mhm.
like I'm not creating any personas or anything. I just feel like, not to use the gun as a metaphor, but like I'm in control of what I want to do. Now, if I get somewhere and everything's chaotic and it changes, whatever, then I can control myself in this environment. But I don't need to control the environment. It's okay. It's all right. I'm good. So I'm just kind of taking that energy. Like, let's just go for it. I don't want to be like this happy-go-lucky, everything's in denial guy. But I don't want to be. I'll be a realist, but I want to be more like, can we do something with it? Can we create it? Can we make it? Does it need time? There's, I love saying, as a filmmaker, there are no problems, just infinite solutions. Picking the right
Mhm.
solution, picking any solution is the key. And I think a lot of people get stuck on picking the solution or making more problems. And
Yeah.
as I went through that phase, I went through that stage, and just listening to you, like just being prepared. You know, Tom said, "Hey, you want to be in my movie?" You said yes. Now you did that. You went to Japan, right? I believe you went to Japan to go talk about the helicopter zombie or something like that. Uh,
Oh,
or did
what, Germany, the UK
Germany?
several times, and I've
See,
been to
like,
Japan a couple times too, but that was in uniform.
oh, okay, okay. But I mean, that's what I mean. Like, that's like you have to be open to the opportunity,
Yeah.
and I think that's
Yeah.
cool.
Be ready
And
when the opportunity is there.
look where it's taking you. And I can't wait to see what else you're doing, and I can't wait to see where my movies go. But thank you, Jim. I'm gonna sign you off.
Thank you, CJ, and a pleasure talking with you this evening. Happy gardening,
Thank
and
you.
I look forward to seeing more pictures of your garden too. Hey,
All right, I will. I'll be posting tomorrow, so you'll check them out.
take care.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Jim.
Have a great
Oh, sorry, you too. Damn, I'm too quick on the draw. But I'm gonna also have to go too. It's a 90-minute show today, and I have to get back to getting started. I have my new binder I have to get into. It's Pokemon, Pokemon, and I have to get we like I said, gardening. We're let's see, no kick from studio, no, whatever. I'll just do that. All right, never mind. But no, yeah, we're finishing the show. I got Escandalo in Dallas uh this coming up month, so that'll be a thing to do. And then what else we got? No, that's it. And I guess I gotta go. We talked gardening, we talked movies. It was fun. It was Jim Cret, everybody. The helicopter zombie. He's a friend of mine, and he came by to pass some knowledge. So I'll break down this episode, and we'll post it up on the YouTube, get some clips, and everybody come check this out. But all right, everybody, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. And Jim, we'll see what I get. I'm gonna reach out to more guests. Have some of my friends, have people that are in the business, and maybe some actors, comedians. some writers, see where we're at. But all right, see y'all later. Peace. Have a good night.